We begin this hour, though, in Washington, where President Biden remains defiant amid calls for him to drop out of the presidential race. After his shaky performance at last week's debate, Biden tried to ease concerns, though, at rallies over the weekend. But new CBS News polling shows voters are a little worried. 72% think President Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve, while 49% say Donald Trump does not have the mental acuity to hold the office. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes is joining us now with some new reporting. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. President Biden spent the day yesterday at Camp David with his extended family, and we're told they encouraged him to stay in the race. His top aides and advisors spent the weekend on the phone reassuring worried donors and lawmakers, explaining to them that they understand their concerns, but that with just 4 months to go, there are no plans to change the campaign strategy or the candidate.
Joe Biden is our nominee. Joe Biden is our leader.
Top Democrats closed ranks around the president Sunday as a slew of editorials from some of the nation's largest newspapers called on him to drop out.
I want to remind everybody that one debate does not define a person's record.
Very clearly, he should stay in this race.
And yet a new CBS poll finds Thursday's rocky performance did take a toll.
Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
72% of voters now believe Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president, up from 65% before the debate. Nearly half of Democrats said he should step aside as the nominee, while virtually no elected Democrats have been willing to go that far on the record. Some acknowledged the panic publicly.
There are a lot of lingering concerns, Alex. We can't put on a happy face on this.
There are very honest and serious and rigorous conversations taking place at every level of our party.
Top Biden officials still haven't explained why Biden seemed to struggle the way he did on Thursday. But they tell CBS News they are staying the course. Nothing has changed. We are full steam ahead, one said. We still believe Biden is the best position to beat Trump. They point to his energetic post-debate campaign stops in Atlanta, Raleigh, and New York.
I give you my word as a Biden, I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job. Because quite frankly, the stakes are too high.
Part of the calculus for the Biden team is the fact that there's no guarantee that an alternate candidate would fare any better than Biden against Trump. The campaign has been circulating recent polling that indicates that all the big names you've heard of, Anne-Marie, would do the same or a little worse against Trump than Biden would.
That's interesting. You know, normally after the first debate, the option of replacing the candidate wouldn't happen because that person would have already been nominated. At this point, these are actually, you know, we haven't actually officially picked the candidates, weirdly enough. And so I wonder, is there any sort of precedent when it comes to replacing a candidate? I mean, how would Democrats even go about doing something like this?
It would be a really messy and unpredictable process, to say the least, Anne-Marie. If the president were to bow out, say, sometime between now and the Democratic convention at the end of August, that would mean that all the delegates that were pledged to him, and there are about 4,000 Democratic delegates, they'd sort of be free to choose whoever they want. And so it's not as if the Democratic Party, if Biden bows out, can anoint who his replacement would be, Kamala Harris or anyone else. It would really be up to those delegates, and it would be a very unpredictable process. Now, if we get into September and October, and then he decides to pull out, that changes things. That is a different process over which the DNC has a lot more control. But at the same time, then you've got new problems because his name is already going to be on the ballot in many states, even if you have a different nominee. So there are no great options here, to say the least.
So, as you pointed out, a lot of surrogates were out and about over the weekend defending his performance. Our campaign reporter, Shauna Mizell, spoke with Democratic Maryland Governor Wes Moore over the weekend. He was campaigning for Biden. Here's how he interpreted the president's debate performance.
I think the president has shown something that all of us knew about him, is that, is that when you get knocked down, you get back up and you keep on fighting. And there's a spirit to that. There's an understanding in so many of our communities that that's how all of us function, how all of us work.
So right now it seems like several Democrats are rallying around the president, but I'm wondering if some are concerned about his performance and whether that could impact their reelection efforts.
No question. That's why everyone is waiting to see, Anne-Marie, what the first head-to-head polls post-debate look like. You've seen our polling over the weekend about Democratic concerns. What the Biden campaign is banking on is that when polls come out showing the race between Biden and Trump, they predict that those numbers won't have shifted very much. They argue most people are locked in. They have retreated to their corners. They know who they're supporting. They think that those head-to-head matchup numbers simply are not going to change very much. Now, if they do change, if Biden is trailing further behind Trump, particularly in battleground states, that's when you're going to start to hear alarm bells out in public from Democratic lawmakers and other Democrats down ballot who say, look, if people aren't coming out to vote for Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, maybe they're not going to vote for me either, and I could be in trouble. And that's when things could really get dicey.
All right, Nancy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.